Hello everyone, welcome to Code Invasion. In this video, we'll learn how the object destructuring in JavaScript works. Object destructuring in JavaScript is a technique used to extract the values of properties in an object into a local variable. So, let's take an example to see what we mean. Imagine you have an object, like we do on our screen, a person object. If we want to access the name and age of the person object, we can simply do this using the dot notation. And this is what it will look like. We'll first of all create a variable const name equals person.name. Then for the age, we'll create another variable which we'll name age equals person.age. Now let's log a simple statement to the console using both these variables. So let's do something like console.log, then name is age years old, right? So age years old. Now if we run our file in the terminal using node, we would see Frank is 32 years old. So let's do that. Node followed by the file name index.js, and we'll hit enter. Boom, and there we have it. So using the dot notation, we are able to access the values of the properties of an object. However, there is a much more concise and cleaner way to do this. Using the dot notation, we are able to access the values of properties of an object. However, there is a much more concise and cleaner way to do this using object destructuring. So let's see how object destructuring works in JavaScript. To do that, we'll first of all comment out this code, and right beneath it, the first thing we will want to do is to type our const keyword followed by curly braces, right? Then we'll bring our assignment operator and then the name of the object we want to extract values from. Having done this, we'll move back into our curly braces and then we'll pass in the name of the properties we want their values. So if we want the name of the person, we'll simply pass the name here and then the age. Okay, so let's rerun our file again using the terminal, and we'll type node index.js and we'll get the same result. Boom, there we have it. Frank is 32 years old. So this line of code on line 15 is what the object destruction looks like. It's a simpler and much cleaner way to access the properties of an object in JavaScript. Now, in some cases, we might have property names which are invalid variable names in JavaScript, such as the favorite food property we have here. We can solve this by renaming the property to a valid variable name in JavaScript. To do this, we would access the property followed by a colon, and we'll pass in the valid JavaScript name. So in this case, we'll use fav food to represent favorite food. Let's log another statement to the console using favorite food. So we type console.log, then we'll pass in his favorite food is fav food. Now if we rerun our file again in the terminal using node, we would see Frank is 32 years old. His favorite food is pepperoni pizza. So let's try this out. Boom. Okay, another cool thing about object destructuring is that we can assign default values just in case the property we are trying to access is undefined in our object. All right, so let's say we want to know the name of his wife. However, in our object there is no wife property. We can simply go about this by using object destructuring. Let's pass wife here, and we'll use the assignment operator, and we'll assign her a default name, right? And we'll just pass in our person object here. So let's log another statement to the console.log, and we'll pass he is married to, passing a string literal here, boom, passing wife. Now if we rerun our file again in the terminal using Node, our third statement is going to be he is married to Sophia. Let's rerun the file again using Node index.js, hit enter, and boom, there we have it. Finally, we can use object destructuring to access nested object values. Okay, so let's say we want to access the name of his first child. We can simply do that. Let's clean up our editor, right? Let's clean this too. Now, in the case where we want to get the values from a nested object, we can take the first child as an example. Let's destructure first child from our person object. Boom. Now let's log to the console first child. We would get an object containing the name and age, right? So let's run our file using Node. Boom, we have the name and age. In order to access the name and age of the first child, we would have to destructure again. This is how we do it. We'll bring a colon followed by curly braces and the property we want to access. So we can now pass name here, and if we run our file using Node in the terminal, we would get Martin. Boom. So this is how to access the values of nested objects using object destructuring in JavaScript. That's a wrap, guys. So this is how to access the value of nested objects in JavaScript using array. So this is how to access the value of nested objects in JavaScript using object destructuring. That's it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed this tutorial, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy coding. Abuzige.